I believe it's our third series of mutualrescue.org interviews. Go to the website, mutualrescue.org. You will find wonderful stories about how life is a two-way street. Rescuing pets not only helps them through the rescue, but they have transformed the lives of the people who rescue them. And I'm speaking here with a special guest today. Jessi Burns joins me. She is one of those people that her rescue dog, I'm going to call her Andromeda. You can give her the short form name, but her rescue dog Andromeda basically helped get her through a very tough time in life. And I think that she also helped Andromeda change as a four-legged individual as well. So Jessi, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're coming from Colorado, right? We're talking from Colorado, right?
I am. Yep, I'm in Golden, Colorado right now.
So what's the weather like out right now?
You know, it's going to be 89 degrees today, so it's actually really warm. But I think this weekend it's supposed to cool off, which will be really nice.
89 degrees. Is there humidity there or no?
There's zero humidity here. It is the middle of the desert, so it is dry.
Okay. And so in the video, when I see pictures of you and Andromeda walking, is that a short distance from your home, or is that a far hike?
No, it's actually only about 10 minutes from where I live. It's called Matthews Winters Park, and Andy and I go there. It's right in the foothills of the Rockies, and we go and hike there all the time, actually.
I'm so jealous. You know, let me tell you, when winter does hit here in New Jersey, we go snow sledding, and the hill's maybe 20 feet tall. That's our big hill. So.
We are very spoiled in Colorado with our long ski runs and lots of powdery snow.
and I'll never forget, a friend of mine, she's a veterinarian, she did vet school out in Colorado, and she waitressed part-time. And then we got into the discussion that because of the elevation that you actually can get drunker quicker, so there's less of a...
You can. Yep, absolutely. You have to be careful when you come up here to drink.
Oh, and I'm Asian too. I don't have alcohol dehydrogenase, so it's just like one Colorado beer and I'm gone.
I love it. That's great.
But so why don't we talk about your story here? You know, I know that from the video that you and your now lost boyfriend, you guys were graduate students. So what field were you guys studying in?
So I was studying communications. I have my master's degree in communication, and he actually, funnily enough, was studying psychology. So he was studying to get his PhD in psychology. So we met when we were in graduate school, fell in love, lived together, and we were really happy. He was a really smart, talented guy, but unfortunately he suffered from depression, and in 2011, near the end of 2011, he ended up taking his own life, which was really unexpected and obviously really devastating to me and to the rest of his friends and family as well.
And this is very poignant because September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and it's very tough to talk about things like this. So I think it's wonderful that you're speaking with me in September about things like this. And so why don't we talk about immediately afterwards how you felt and how this whole transition went to meeting Andromeda.
Mm-hmm. So it was the worst time of my life. I was really, really depressed myself, and I just kept having all these thoughts of like, why couldn't I stop it? Was it my fault? You know, there's this weird sense of guilt that comes with when you lose someone to suicide. It's a very unique sense of grief, I think, that you go through. And so it was just a really tough time for me. And randomly enough, I found that one of the only things that sort of helped me get my mind off of everything was I started looking at shelter dogs online. I've always been an animal lover, and my boyfriend and I had often talked about getting a dog, and we just hadn't gotten around to it. And so for some reason in my head, I just sort of decided, like, this is the next step. This is what I need to do. And I just happened to stumble across a photo of a dog at the local shelter. She was a yellow lab, a little 8-month-old yellow lab, and she looked so sad and so pitiful in her photo. And I think that I just really identified with her because she looked in her photo how I was feeling at the time. And I just decided right then and there that I had to meet her. And my dad took me down to the shelter, and I met her, and that was it. We took her home that day, and I named her Andromeda. So the story behind that is that my dad is actually an astronomer, and the Andromeda galaxy is the furthest away thing that you can see with the naked eye. And so I've just grown up with star things and all of that kind of stuff. And so, but Andromeda is obviously a mouthful, so I call her Andy for short.
Oh, that's a great story. That's a great story. Oh, yeah. And so have you ever been to a shelter before? The experience of going there, or was this all just new for you?
I'd always wanted to work with animals, and so I'd been to shelters just to look at animals and things like that. We had animals all growing up, but we always ended up getting them from friends or family. So it was kind of a new experience for me. But I've always believed so heartily in adopting animals because it's such an important thing. I think of like giving these animals a home that really need one. So yeah, it was important for me to go to a shelter.
Okay, that's great. And then you mentioned in the video that Andy did suffer from what are typical things. She had an upper respiratory infection, it sounds like, and so she came home with antibiotics and stuff, I'm assuming, right?
Yep. Yeah, she had kennel cough and was wheezing and coughing. She had definitely lived on the street. She came into the shelter as a stray dog, so they didn't have a lot of information about her background. But she was really underweight and really skittish and shy. And so when she came into my life, she was also kind of similar to me, wary of people and, wanted to keep to herself a little bit. But being a puppy, she still needed to get outside. Yeah. So, and being a lab too, how energetic labs are. And so she constantly was essentially bothering me of like, okay, let's go outside now. I want to go hiking. I want to go fetch the ball. And honestly, I attribute that and her personality to getting me through those days and months after my boyfriend's suicide, because she forced me to get outside. She forced me to go and talk to people and to start hiking and interacting with the world again. And, a lot of times all I wanted to do was stay in bed and try not to think about anything, but she wouldn't let me. She would always bring me toys or, nudge my arm like, okay, let's go do something. And so, like I said, I truly think that she saved my life and that I am sitting here today because I adopted her.
Wow. That's awesome. And you mentioned in the video that this is the first time your dad said he saw you smile in months.
Yep. Months. He said that when we saw Andromeda, that was the first time he'd seen me smile in months, because it was the darkest days of my life for sure, and she really pulled me out of that.
And I guess kudos to your parents too, because they probably felt a little helpless, right? You're trying to figure out what to do, and I'm sure your dad was going, "What? She wants to go rescue a dog?" Right?
That is exactly. Now, in the years later, they have said like, we weren't going to say anything at the time because we weren't going to tell you no, but we were thinking to ourselves, like, what are we going to do with a dog? Like, how is this? Because my life, obviously my life kind of fell apart after my boyfriend died, because I had been planning my future with him. We were living together. We were planning on getting married and having kids. And all of a sudden I didn't have a place to live, and I didn't have a future that I could conceivably see. And so yeah, my parents were amazing of just being like, this is going to make you feel better, we'll let you do it. So
your dad's going, should I drive her to the hospital or should I drive her to the shelter?
Exactly. Luckily, he chose the shelter.